How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Kill House. This is from 2006, directed by Beth Dewey, and stars Susan Artigas, Shepard Stevenson, Iris Berry, and the director, Beth Dewey, is in here as well. Now, right off the bat, look at the cover. There's this cool axe, which is in the movie, but you got this grungy color palette, heavy black and white contrast. It looks very serious, and with a name like Kill House, you expect it to be a grungy, horror-based slasher movie. I was expecting something pretty cool out of this. No. When it does do the slasher stuff, that's when the movie is at its best. There is some okay parts there. There is some okay kills. Still, it's kind of a C-grade slasher, not gonna lie, but at least that's interesting. Sadly, though, that's not what most of the movie is. I think it's trying to be a early 2000s raunchy style comedy, but it doesn't land, and I didn't laugh at all in this whole movie. In fact, saying I think it's supposed to be a comedy really does get the level of humor we're dealing with here, and the way it goes about having its humor is there's a bunch of characters, definitely too many, and they're all just kind of mean to each other. There's nothing really super hilarious. Every now and then, again, more on the horror side, every now and then you'll get like some violent death or something, and that kind of works. But the characters just bickering and being mean to each other, it doesn't really come off great. Again, I didn't laugh at all during this. And the thing is, though, it is trying, and like there are so many factory films nowadays that, low-budget horror really does get a bad name. This isn't a modern factory film with padding or anything. It's trying to be a horror comedy, but the key word is trying. This is just a movie you can see what they were going for, but it never started. The humor isn't funny, it doesn't focus on the horror, and the rest of the movie is kind of a mess. But anyway, without further ado, let's talk a bit about the plot. I want to dig deeper in order to analyze this more and say my piece on a few plot points, but no major spoilers, just try to do some analysis. Anyway, we open up with a prologue that actually started me off with a little bit of hope for this movie. There's a realtor, and she finds a female squatter in a house she's trying to sell in the bathtub, and then a killer comes in and stabs her with a pin through the eye and throws a radio into the bathtub, and big cartoon electricity comes out of it and kills the squatter. It's stupid, but it's kind of fun and it's slashery. I thought, okay, maybe there's potential for this one. It's not the serious movie in the cover, but maybe it's a fun, cheesy slasher movie. And those hopes are quickly dashed when we realize we're not going to be focusing on the slasher element. We get the main family in this movie, and the main family, mom, dad, brother, sister, turns out they're going to be selling their house and moving because the mom got a botched butt implant surgery and now she can't go up the steps in this house anymore. That's the inciting incident right there. It leads to the actress wearing around a big fake butt. We're all dying of laughter, right? Well, turns out their new house isn't going to have room for the daughter's horse, and she's big into the horse. She's apparently a professional athlete in this regard, and horses do take up a lot of space and resources, so you really should have planned this one out better, parents. It's this big situation that really could have been explored more, but it just amounts to every now and then her going, my horse, I have to do this plot point, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of unexplored paths that are set up in this movie, and then just provide minor motivation later, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, you get those two, and then that will lead you to the realtors. Oh boy, and they're your first set of auxiliary characters, three realtors, and they all work in this little room, and they all hate each other and will fight each other over properties, and they set up these minor part of the movie, but huge gripe. The realtor signs in this movie look freaking terrible. Plywood painted ugly green and orange, and it's not printed, it's painted, and it's got those Home Depot address stickers spelling everything out in a picture taped on the front. It's such a terrible prop, and I don't know why you didn't just go to a sign printer, because, like, it's a sign in a movie, it's not a hard prop, and it looks so terrible. But anyway, the realtors all hate each other. Ha ha, wacky hijinks ensue, whatever. It's not funny, and it's just them being mean to each other. But anyway, hijinks, blah blah, whatever, I don't care. Then you get this guy who's a parolee, and he's living with the main family in their barn, it appears, because no one wants to hire a parolee. He says that the guy he killed, it was in self-defense, and he talks to his parole officer about how the system's set up to knock him down any chance it gets, and he has to walk on eggshells and has no hope for the future. And there could be something to be said here, but again, it just turns into him complaining every now and then and not really exploring an issue that could have drove the movie. He's just angry, and he thinks nobody likes him, even people that couldn't conceivably know that he was a parolee, just someone walking down the street and like looks at him. How would that person know? They've never met you before. But whatever. He's there, and that will lead us to our second group of auxiliary wacky characters, the police officers. You get the parole officer and two detectives, and you would think that those would be vastly different agencies with their own buildings, but no, they're all kind of close together because the movie has to keep its characters close. And they all, again, hate each other as well, and each one will have their own thing. The parole officer is serious, and she has a younger sister in the hospital. Never really comes up. The male detective has a wife that hates him. Never really adds anything to the story. And then the female detective is a lesbian, which, again, that plot doesn't go anywhere and only serves to add some more nudity to the movie. So all of them have like an attribute that goes nowhere. And it really does feel like, remember in The Room where they introduced that the mom definitely has breast cancer and then it's never brought up again? That's pretty much all the characters here, including one of the realtors having cancer and then it never coming up really later. Moving on. The killer has a kind of interesting motivation. It's different, but it's not really good. It's like, okay, I don't think I've seen a killer that kills for that reason, but it's just kind of, honestly, a little petty at the end, and it's supposed to be funny, and there's supposed to be lots of humor with the killer. And I would talk about the killer more, but I don't know, it plays it off like it's going to be a big mystery and then just tells you at the end of Act 1 who the killer is, so yeah, some descriptions of this movie just flat out tell you. The killer is okay. It's supposed to be funny. It sometimes works, and sometimes you get a good kill. It's not great. It's just another one of this movie's elements that I can see where they're going for. It just never sparks, you know? There'll be scenes that, you know, it's like the movie's not incredibly hard to follow, but every now and then it will jerk you away with some perplexing scene or character decision, and you'll have to kind of figure out what's going on. there are a few times where the movie feels like you have to fight it to understand it. For example, I guess your main character there is a parolee who killed someone in the past, and then we get a scene where he's on the streets and a homeless person starts to harass him and he punches them and leaves them for dead. And I'm like, okay, that's a flashback, right? No. That's just something that happened, and it's going to not be addressed for a super long time, and then brought up briefly as at the end for a minor motivational point. And it's like, why did this guy's trying to get reformed and we're just glossing over him assaulting someone? It's weird. There's another scene where he's in the back of a car, a police officer is in the front, and the police officer goes into a strip club for no reason. And I'm like, wait, why is he being left here? Oh, this is supposed to be a joke, I think. I think that's what we're trying to go for here. And that's what I mean when I say this is messy. Is there's just a few scenes where you're like, what are we doing? What's this character trying to accomplish? And it's not in a good, mysterious way. It's just jolting you and making you sit down and try to figure out what the movie's trying to say. It's the equivalent to someone mumbling when they talk to you. It's not good or clear. It's really not. And then the biggest flaw with this movie, it's something I saved to the end because I really don't like talking about stuff like this. The daughter in this movie, the sister character, gets naked quite a bit. And then for no reason later, another character mentions she's only supposed to be 16 years old. Now, the actress is definitely old enough. She's just playing a younger character. But for real movie, why the heck did you write that? Why did you shoot it the way you did, not really holding anything back, and then have that line later? I felt like the FBI was gonna break down my windows and shoot me in the head. It's... Why? Why do movies flip and do stuff like this? That's freaking terrible. Yeah, so that big sin right there, just whatever. It's really not a great movie. It's like I could see where they were trying to be different. I could see what they were trying to go for. I could see where they were going. It's just some level of incompetence just kept them from getting there. And it never worked. It should have focused on horror. If you want to do a horror comedy, focus on being a horror movie. Let the comedy come naturally from the extremity of the situation. Don't write stupid jokes and then layer the horror on top. That almost never works. And it's just a movie that's masquerades around as a slasher movie when the slasher stuff really does sink to the bottom. And it's just a bad comedy and it doesn't work, and I don't like it. Again, it's not the worst movie ever. I don't want to tear on it too hard. It's not a padded factory film or anything, but it just doesn't work. I'm sorry, it doesn't. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. How about my slasher movies playlist? I've covered a lot of movies that are better than this. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.